because we have such important information, we have Dr. Gianluigi Zangari from the Safrati Institute in Italia, giving us some of the most important information. I received this email this morning from John Moore, who sent me information that Dr. Zangari, a theoretical physicist doing analysis of the satellite infrared data from the Gulf of Mexico, identified a significant break in the normal genesis of the Gulf of Mexico loop current, the energy that drives the escalator from the Gulf of Mexico to Northern Europe, one of the main drivers of world climate. A major damage has happened, a cataclysm caused by the British Petroleum oil leak. And by the way, that leak has not by any means been solved by the so-called cap on the riser, which is not connected to the well rupture at the ocean floor. There is no change in the amount of oil coming out from there or other oil seeps. It is a total lie. There is now up to 400 to 500 feet of oil sitting at the bottom of a mile down, covering hundreds of square miles now, covering an area larger than several states. And as Dr. Zangari mentioned earlier today when I had a video conference with him, this completely changes the ability of the loop current to be heated up by the Gulf of Mexico, transferring energy to the Gulf of Mexico into this current going the escalator to Europe. So, Dr. Zangari, I'd like you to kind of summarize for the people of America and worldwide that are listening to the NutriMedical Report what your findings have been since the April 20th British Petroleum disaster and what this means to the climate of the world.
Yes. Good afternoon, Bill. Now I'm speaking from Italy. Now it's 11 p.m. I begin my work with the University of Colorado that gave me the maps of 6 satellites, Topex, JSON, Poseidon, Geosat, Follow-On, Meresat, and Envisat. And
these are different satellites, in other words, that you're using in order to get access to the satellite data over the Gulf.
Yes. And I check the data with my system of calculus. This is SHT calculus. It's a calculus based about the theory of categories, which I work since 10 years. So after the checking of the data, I observed a fracture in the loop current, which is one of the most important component of the Gulf Stream, which carries the warm current into the Atlantic circulation of the Gulf Stream. The first breakdown was observed and checked by me on May the 11th. And with the formation of a big eddy clockwise. And the second event was on June the 12th. And it was only the beginning of a series of breaking. Nowadays, yesterday, I am observing now about 8 eddies of the loop currents. So if they have just stopped the coming off of the oil, I am continuing in observing a breaking down of the loop current. Now you see these are complex physics. There are critical phenomena, unpredictable, because they are ruled by nonlinear equations. So, if the loop current will go on to be fractured, to be broken, sorry for my English, it may have serious consequences on the entire Gulf Stream, you know. This is very critical situation. This is a natural equilibrium made up of currents of salinity or flora and fauna of the whole Gulf, and may be irreversible compromised by about, they say, about more than 1 billion liters of oil.
Yes. So what we're talking about is that the normal mechanism, which is very sensitive, for making the Gulf Current, which is one of the major timepieces for the whole world climate, not just the North Europe, has now been disrupted. As you mentioned in an analogy you gave, if you had a small pool and you started a current moving it around in the pool and then you poured in oil, the current moving that flow of the water would stop. And in fact, what's happening is the oil isn't stopped by any means. It's a lie with a collaboration of British Petroleum, the private army that's protecting them from getting access to the real data, and internal departments of the government and the Interior Department. And the fact is, this is going to precipitate not enough energy to the escalator current that brings warm waters to Scotland, Northern Europe, and the world climate. And these systems are all connected worldwide. And what you're saying is the escalator current is now dead. It is stopped. It is not going to go with enough energy to bring the warm waters to Europe. So it's immediately going to precipitate a massive decrease in warming climate to these parts of the world, and it's going to change the world climate now.
So cambierà
il clima. Many people, many other physicists, and I don't know what government says, because I am in Italy. I don't know what's the official position of government and BP, but some people think it will be restored, the equilibrium naturally, but I say it's impossible to predict what will happen.
Only 1% of the oil is now reaching the surface, where most of the effects are immediately happening, but 99% is below, and the oil is vastly underestimated because it didn't just disrupt this oil at this pipe thousands of feet below the seafloor, but we believe the receipts at 5 up to 20 more miles away along a probable fault line, and they fractured the actual granite cap over this giant basilisk of ancient abiotic oil.
If the most part of the oil is underside, it will destroy and kill all the life, because all the life will be out of oxygen, you know, and there will be serious consequences.
Yes, and 80% of the oxygen on Earth is made in the upper 30 feet or 10 meters of the ocean, the benthic layer. So this is going to be cataclysmic for the oceans, not only in the Gulf of Mexico, but as time goes on, it will affect other oceans as well.
So you can try an experiment of yourself. You take, as I was telling you, you take a swimming pool with a flux, with a stream, you know, stream for massage and so on, and you take, come si dice bidone?
You take a tank.
A tank of oil, and take the oil in this water, in the sea water, and you will see the effects. You will see that the action of oil will stop the flow of the current. So imagine what happened in the Gulf. Imagine the sort of very delicate equilibrium and the presence of nonlinear and critical phenomena. Those are complex physics, because you deal with equations, nonlinear equation, unpredictable. You know, most people know the butterfly effect, no?
Yes. Keep that thought. We'll be right back with Dr. Gianluigi Zangari from Zafrati Institute in Italy, and we're going to get questions and responses from Ann Morrison and John Moore, who sent me the original contact. Again, praise God that we got a response back within minutes from Dr. Gianluigi. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned to the NutriMedical Report, and we'll hear more from Dr. Zafrati in a moment. Welcome back, and of course we have Dr. Gianluigi Zangari from Zafrati Institute, and he's going to give an answer to a question